They used to call it lazy gardening, not because it failed, but because it worked too well. Long before hoses, sprinklers, and rising water bills, gardeners trusted simple systems that quietly watered their plants for years. No pumps, no noise, no constant effort, just clay pots buried in the soil, kitchen scraps, and a little patience. Once planted, these gardens almost took care of themselves, feeding roots slowly, deeply, and efficiently, even in dry seasons. Your grandparents understood it. Their grandparents perfected it. Then convenience arrived, and this wisdom faded from memory. Today, we're bringing it back, a method that saves water, time, and money, and asks almost nothing in return. Stay with me. This old idea still works. When gardens were built to outlive us, long before modern irrigation systems, timers, and plastic hoses, older gardeners thought in decades, not weekends. They didn't ask, "How fast can I grow this?" They asked, "How will this garden survive when I'm tired or gone?" These were people who respected time because their bodies taught them its value. Backs ached, hands stiffened. Water had to be carried, not switched on. So they planned carefully. They asked simple, honest questions. How do we keep soil moist without watering every day? How do we protect crops when the rains don't come? How do we design gardens that don't punish aging hands and knees? The answers weren't flashy. They were slow, quiet, thoughtful. Clay pots were buried beneath the soil to release water little by little, right at the roots. Mulch wasn't decoration, it was protection. Kitchen scraps weren't trash. They were future fertility. Beds were placed where gravity worked with them, not against them. Nothing was rushed, and nothing was wasted. These gardeners understood something we often forget today. Plants don't need more attention, they need better systems. Once built, the garden worked whether you were young or old, strong or tired, home or away. It didn't demand daily labor. It respected human limits. That's why many of these gardens kept producing through droughts, illnesses, and hard seasons. They were designed to forgive missed days and tired bodies. This wasn't laziness. It was wisdom earned through years of living. And here's the lesson worth reclaiming today. A good garden doesn't exhaust you. It supports you. In the video ahead, we'll rediscover how these old systems worked and how you can rebuild them now, with simple tools, familiar materials, and the same patient thinking that once allowed gardens to outlive the people who planted them. The secret: water stored underground. The heart of the so-called lazy garden was never magic. It was hidden water, placed where the sun couldn't steal it and where roots could reach it slowly. Older gardeners understood a simple truth: water lost to the air helps no plant. So instead of spraying water on top of the soil and watching it vanish, they moved it underground. At the center of many of these gardens were unglazed clay pots, buried near plants. When filled, the pots didn't pour water into the soil. They released it gently, drop by drop, through the clay itself. The soil drew moisture only when it needed it. Roots learned to grow toward the source, deeper and stronger. No runoff, no puddles, no wasted effort. Around these pots, gardeners shaped the land with intention. Gravel paths weren't just for walking, they slowed water down, trapping moisture beneath the surface after rain. Instead of rushing away, water lingered where plants could benefit from it. Then came the mulch, thick, deliberate layers of straw, leaves, bark, or dried grass. Mulch wasn't added for looks. It shaded the earth, cooled the soil, and blocked evaporation. Beneath it, the ground stayed dark, damp, and alive. Together, these elements created a quiet system. Water went in. The sun stayed out. Roots stayed fed. The result was remarkable. Gardens didn't need daily watering. In many cases, they needed attention only during long dry spells. Some clay pot systems lasted for years, even decades, with nothing more than occasional refilling and basic care. This wasn't neglect. It was design. And here's the part many people miss. These systems didn't just save water, they saved energy. Less bending, less carrying, less worry. For aging gardeners, that mattered. For anyone dealing with heat, drought, or rising water costs, it still does. You don't need expensive equipment to use this method today. Unglazed clay pots, a shovel, mulch from your yard, and thoughtful placement are enough. The principles haven't changed, only our habits have. When water is stored underground, the garden stops asking for constant attention. It learns to care for itself. The Olla pot method, old, Proven safe. One of the oldest and most reliable tools in lazy gardening is the Olla, a simple, unglazed clay pot buried in the soil near plants. No wires, no switches, no pressure systems, just earth, water, and time. The idea is almost disarmingly simple. You bury the pot, so only the opening remains above ground. You fill it with water and cover the top. From there, the clay does the work. Because the pot is unglazed, tiny pores in the clay allow moisture to seep out only. When the surrounding soil begins to dry, when the soil is moist, the release slows. When it dries, the release increases. The plant decides, not the gardener. That's why this method is so gentle and so effective. Water is delivered directly to the root zone, where it's needed most. There's no runoff across the surface, no evaporation under the sun, and no shock to the plants. This is why Ollas were trusted for centuries across dry and hot regions of the world. They didn't just conserve water, they made watering predictable, calm, and forgiving. Many families reused the same pot season after season. With care, a single Olla could last for years. Some were handed down, not because they were rare, but because they worked, and they were safe. There's no pressure involved, no electricity, and nothing that can suddenly fail. If you forget to refill an Olla for a day or two, the soil still holds moisture. The garden doesn't punish you for being human. That mattered deeply to older gardeners. Strength fades. Memory slips. Heat becomes harder to endure. The Olla method quietly covered those gaps. Even today, the method remains unchanged. Modern gardeners may add a simple lid or stone to keep insects and debris out. But the principle stays the same. Water goes in. The earth regulates the rest. If you're looking for a way to garden that respects your time, your energy, and your body, the Olla is a reminder of something our elders already knew. The best tools don't demand attention. They quietly do their job. Mulch, the unsung hero. Old gardeners had a rule they rarely needed to say out loud. Never leave soil bare. Exposed earth dries quickly, hardens under the sun, and invites weeds to take over. So they covered it, patiently, deliberately, season after season. Mulch was their quiet partner. They used what they had on hand. Straw from the field, fallen leaves from the yard, grass clippings from a careful mow. Nothing fancy, nothing wasted. Layer by layer, they built a protective blanket over the soil. That single habit changed everything. First, it slowed evaporation. With the sun blocked, moisture stayed where it belonged, in the ground, feeding roots instead of disappearing into the air. Second, it discouraged weeds. Seeds that landed on top of thick mulch rarely found the light or space they needed to grow. Fewer weeds meant less bending, less pulling, and less strain on aging backs and knees. Third, it protected plant roots from heat. Soil temperatures stayed more even, shielding roots during hot afternoons and sudden dry spells. Plants didn't panic. They grew steadily. Over time, mulch did something even more valuable. As it broke down, it fed the soil itself. Earthworms moved in. The soil softened. What was once dirt became a living sponge, holding water longer and releasing it slowly. This is why mulched gardens needed far less watering. Rain soaked in instead of running off. Water stayed available days longer than in bare soil. Older gardeners understood that mulch wasn't decoration. It was insurance. Insurance against drought. Insurance against fatigue. Insurance against wasted effort. For anyone gardening today, the lesson still holds. A few inches of natural mulch, refreshed as it settles, can cut watering dramatically while making the garden easier to care for. Good mulch doesn't ask for attention. It quietly protects everything beneath it. Why it was intentionally forgotten. This part of the story doesn't require suspicion or conspiracy. It only requires honesty. As gardening slowly became commercial, patience stopped being profitable. Older methods worked, but they worked quietly. Once installed, they didn't ask for much. No constant purchases. No seasonal upgrades. No replacement parts every year. And that didn't fit the new direction. Gardening shifted from a long-term practice into a consumer routine. Instead of planning for years, we were encouraged to think in weekends. Convenience became the selling point, even when it created more work over time. We were introduced to faster tools, more products, more attachments, more reasons to keep buying. Watering became something you did constantly, not something you designed once. Hoses replaced buried water. Sprinklers replaced slow release. Thin soil replaced layered ground, and bare earth became normal again, even though it demanded more water, more effort, and more attention. The old systems didn't disappear because they failed. They faded because they didn't generate repeat sales. A clay pot buried in the soil doesn't wear out quickly. Mulch made from leaves doesn't come with a price tag. Gravel paths don't need upgrades. These solutions were local, durable, and quietly sufficient. So they weren't passed down. Not through advertisements. Not through instruction manuals. Not through big displays in garden centers. They were remembered only in stories, if they were remembered at all. And yet, when water becomes scarce, when heat becomes harder to tolerate, when bodies ask for gentler work, these forgotten methods start making sense again. The truth is simple. Some of the best garden systems don't ask you to keep buying. They ask you to keep remembering. And once remembered, they still work, just as steadily as they always did. Why this matters for seniors today. For older gardeners, this wisdom isn't nostalgia. It's practical relief. Gardening should bring peace, not pain. Yet many modern methods quietly demand more bending, more lifting, and more daily effort than aging bodies can comfortably give. The older gardeners who came before us understood this early. They designed gardens that worked with them, not against them. When water is stored underground, there's less hauling of hoses and watering cans. When soil stays covered, there's less weeding and less strain on the knees. When systems release water slowly, there's no rush, no daily urgency, and no guilt if you miss a day. This matters more with time. Hands don't grip as tightly as they once did. Heat lingers longer. Balance takes more care. A garden that demands constant attention slowly stops being a joy, even when the love for it remains. These older methods remove that pressure. They turn gardening back into something steady and forgiving. You can tend a bed, rest when you need to, and trust that the soil will hold on to moisture. The garden doesn't collapse because you listen to your body. That's not laziness. That's wisdom. It's wisdom that respects limits instead of fighting them. Wisdom that understands consistency matters more than intensity. Wisdom that values systems over strain. And there's another quiet benefit: confidence. When a garden needs less daily effort, it stays accessible. You don't have to give it up after an illness, a hot week, or a hard season. It remains something you can return to, gently, on your own terms. For seniors today, these forgotten methods offer something rare: independence. A garden that continues to grow, even when energy fluctuates. A routine that fits real life. A way to keep hands in the soil without sacrificing comfort or safety. This isn't about doing less because you can't do more. It's about doing things better because you've learned enough to know what lasts. A wise garden doesn't rush you. It waits. The lazy garden was never lazy. It was thoughtful. It was patient. It was built with the understanding that good things don't need constant interference. They need care, placed in the right way. These gardens weren't rushed. They were trusted. Once established, they quietly did what they were meant to do, season after season, asking little and giving much. Somewhere along the way, we were taught that progress meant replacing what worked, that newer was always better, faster, flashier. But in the process, we let go of methods that honored time, water, and the human body. The mistake wasn't forgetting the tools. It was forgetting the thinking behind them, the kind of thinking that planned for dry seasons, that respected aging hands, that believed wisdom should make life easier, not harder. If this story stirred a memory of a garden you once saw, a grandparent you once watched, or a way of doing things that felt calmer and kinder, hold on to that feeling. It's there for a reason. And if it reminded you of how things should be, not just how they are, pass it on. Share this with someone who still loves the soil. Someone who believes slow doesn't mean outdated. Someone who knows that the best lessons are often the quiet ones. Subscribe to the Evergreen Seniors, where old wisdom still grows strong, and the knowledge worth keeping is never rushed.